Yeah.
Do you
Well,
agree with them?
He
Since I
exudes
bought
some
this-
sort of
If he looks
electromagnetic.
at it,
Yeah.
is that true?
So,
It is.
Since I brought this, I'll read it to you
Yeah.
before we get coffee and everything.
There's no
This is
coffee.
a story called A Matter of Intent. I didn't know the gun was loaded, and I'm so sorry, my friend. Always put a little thought up there, you know. I had a little box which I kept in my drawer, the only place in the house which was mine alone. Every other inch of that house was shared. Ma had cut a little slot in my box, and it held the nickels I earned drying the dishes. My sister Bob paid John and me a nickel each for drying and putting away the dishes. It was her job. I put the nickels in my box for weeks without counting them, as I wanted to be pleasantly surprised. I intended to order a blue sailor suit from the Sears catalog, a little boy's suit that cost, as I remember, $2.49, a lot of nickels. This was in the worst of the Depression. Finally, the day came when I let myself open my box of nickels to find the same miserable little pile of nickels that I had to start with. My sister, the rat, had been paying me with my own nickels,
That is.
and I was too dumb to know. I never did get the sailor suit, though I intended to order it. I kept spending my nickels on other things, trips to the candy store, etc., and never had enough again. Years later, when I learned to sew, the first thing I made was a blue midi blouse. I think I have a picture of myself in that shirt. Sometimes it seems that we just bumble our way through life at the mercy of the unintended. The boy who hit the baseball that hit my brother Freddie didn't intend to kill him, but he died just the same. My mother learned to live with his loss, but she never got over it. She grieved for the rest of her long life. She was a funny, happy woman, though, and she didn't intend to ruin our lives with her grief. She hid to cry. She didn't fool us. We tiptoed around when we knew she was sad. I didn't intend to go out with Paul Nail, much less marry him. He was too tall, too skinny, and I did not want to go out with him. I liked short, muscled boys whose eyes were on a level with mine. I knew a couple of those. I can't remember why they didn't work out. But I was a kind girl, and when Paul asked me out, I couldn't have said what first came to mind. No thanks, you don't appeal to me in any way at all. So I went. And the rest, we like to say, is history. We know it's not history, but nevertheless, we like to say that it is. I know my everyday, ordinary life isn't important in the grand scheme, but even though I'm nearly 87 years old, I intend to stay here as long as I can. Where else would a crow have knocked on my mother's door in Lubbock and moved right in? Where else could I have seen the monkey riding the dog on Westheimer in Houston? Or the guy here in Austin who rides around on his bike wearing only a thong? Just a week or so ago on Nueces Street, Leslie and I saw a man walking nonchalantly along with long ears fastened to his head some way.
I saw him the other day. I forgot to tell you.
That stuck straight up like a cat's, though much longer.
It's a tail.
Trailing
And a
along
tail.
behind him was a tail that was
saw it
like
2
a
days
cat's,
ago.
except no decent cat would let his tail drag along limply in the dirt. Robert Earl Keane is right. Ooh-wee, it's a big old goofy world.
Big old goofy world. It's true.
That's great.
But I saw the
That's
guy
a
one
great
yet. I forgot to tell
Cat
you.
ears and a
You saw that
When I
guy?
left your place and and I drove and I turned down onto South Lamar off of 6th Street. On my right was the guy with the cat ears.
Oh, just like that,
And
right
he
after
was-
you got told?
Well, no,